You know, guys, at this point, I'm just starting to think that these developers, I don't even think they're human. I have a theory that there might be a subspecies of humans, similar to reptilians, similar to androids. I genuinely think the Infinity Ward devs, they're not human beings. It just doesn't add up. And look, guys, I'll talk about the blog post in just a second, but before I do, I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on this whole, pedo bundle, if you will. This image has been going around everywhere, and I'm gonna make this very, very brief. I'm gonna try to be as clear as possible, but I personally am skeptical as to whether or not Infinity Ward or whichever art designer did this intentionally. Personally, I don't think it was intentional, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were intentional. Infinity Ward doesn't seem to have a single working brain cell. Activision is out there abusing women. Now, I understand the whole Korean design thing with this, the whole Saikdong, if that's how you pronounce it. If it's not, I am so sorry. If it's culture related and they didn't mean to do this, then it's still either way, no matter which way you cut it, this needs to be either removed or changed, simply because it's become controversial. I didn't even know there was a flag for this initially, but upon looking at it, there are some weird similarities. So I think either way you cut it, I think the developers should absolutely change the design if it's not intentional, and if it is intentional, go to hell. But enough of that, as if there wasn't any more disappointing things to talk about in this game and with the developers. The new Season 2 blog post that everybody was waiting for finally came out yesterday as I'm recording this video right now, and I'm not going to go over anything Warzone 2 related. I'm certainly not going over anything DMZ related, because I, along with a lot of other people, we want to see multiplayer do better. We want to see it succeed. So I'll go over it very briefly. The audio is being tweaked again. I guess there wasn't this occlusion thing that they had going on at launch that they were talking about during the beta. Personally, I don't know what this is, and honestly, I don't really care all that much. As long as I don't sound like Lizzo crip walking, the audio isn't really that big of an issue for me. You know, maybe give us dead silence as a perk, but I'll get into that in a bit. There's gonna be perk balancing, and there's gonna be some adjustments to how fast you get some of your perks. And personally, I just think this is absolutely useless. It's like they're almost inching towards doing what the community wants and what the community is asking for, but unfortunately, they're too hell-bent on their pride and their ridiculous vision that has sucked since MW 2019 that they're not actually gonna change it, which would be a lot better, because that would require too much common sense. They talked about weapon balancing, which every single update should arguably have weapon balancing, but they did mention that there's gonna be 5 new weapons in Season 2, and hopefully that goes hand in hand with maps, but they don't mention that, and unfortunately, I'll talk about that in a second as well. They talked about hardcore like this wasn't already announced. They talked about playlist updates, which I genuinely don't care about, but they did say something interesting about these playlists. Over on Twitter, the Infinity Ward account weekly is going to put out polls where people can vote on which playlist they want for the week. Now, that does sound like it's a good idea. However, my question is, why can't you make a poll for absolutely everything else that a lot of people are somehow divided on, like red dots and dead silence? And again, I'll talk about that in a second as well, but in classic Infinity Ward fashion, that is all the news we have for Modern Warfare 2019 Part 2 multiplayer. Are you guys hyped? Because I certainly am not. I think this might actually go down as one of the worst seasons in Call of Duty history, as if Season 1 didn't already take that, simply because they're making us wait and they're tugging us along talking about listening to feedback when it's very clear that they're not. Now, I really wanted to drive this point home with the whole perk balancing and the audio. None of these things should have been problems to begin with. If you think I need to be grateful for any of these changes, please, I am not Joe Seacott. Please stay away from my gooch. I don't want you near me. Get your tongue away from me. Hey, don't do that. Yeah, you know, if my neighbor brings over his 250-pound pit bull onto my front yard and it takes a fat shit and then he leaves it for a week and then comes back a week later to clean it up, you think I'm gonna thank him and be grateful? No. The next thing, this whole voting for playlist thing, I think it's actually a good idea. However, why didn't we have that same luxury for something like red dots on the map? or Dead Silence is a perk. And if you want to go for this whole, oh, well, the game plays better without red dots, how the hell would you know? I've made this point countless times. How would you possibly know how this game plays with red dots on the map or Dead Silence as an available perk when this game and MW 2019, which are both replicas of each other, have never had the two things on? How can you tell me that this game plays better without red dots? Why don't you, I don't know, give us a playlist with it enabled and see what the reception is like? Or you can let us vote on it in a poll and we'll see what the numbers actually look like, because people want to come out here and say, oh, you're part of the minority, a vocal minority. Pipe down, Tiana Trump. We're not talking to you, we're talking to people with common sense. As far as we know, there is absolutely no data available to back up what your claims are that we are a vocal minority. And if that's truly how you feel, let us vote and see for ourselves. If you're part of the whole crowd where, oh well, if red dots are on the map, that forces everyone to use a suppressor, that's simply not true, because if that were the case, they would have been overpowered and they would have been a crutch back in the golden era of COD, and that's simply not the case. And actually, you know what? Let me do something very quickly. First of all, there's like 9 different suppressors in this game. Second of all, there is a lot of attachments, muzzle attachments, that do the exact same thing. So if it's really that big of an issue for you, if you really want a muzzle that completely conceals you off the radar when you shoot, put the attachment on. You have 4 other attachments that you can put on. Trust me, if you think red dots are a problem in COD, you probably suck bad enough for the other 4 attachments to not matter in your setup anyways. And as a science experiment, this is what I'm gonna do here on the channel. Unfortunately for my sanity, I am running out of gameplays here on MW 2019 Part 2. After this gameplay, every single gameplay you see for the rest of the year, I am going to be running a suppressor, and I'm gonna be on the top of the leaderboard, and it's not gonna bother me. Alright, so everybody who thinks that the suppressor is going to be a crutch and you're forced to use it, I'm going to be using it out of my own free will, and I'm going to perform with it. Gooch lickers, please trust me, in an alternate reality, there is a world out there where you do not suck at COD and prefer no red dots on the map. Same with Dead Silence. Now, there was one piece of information in this blog post that wasn't included, and it's kind of concerning as to why it wasn't. Guys, why is there no mention of how many maps we're getting in this new season? I mean, they told us how many new weapons we're getting without actually labeling which ones they are, which is okay, but why didn't they do the same for the maps? Why couldn't they be like, oh yeah, Season 2 has 3 maps, Season 2 has 4 maps? Could it be that they're possibly embarrassed that Season 2 will have 2 maps? Here's a really funny interaction I saw on Twitter that I wanted to share with you guys between FaZe Scope and Charlie Intel. Scope says, how many maps do we think they gotta add for it to be a good update? 4 or 5? Charlie Intel responds with LOL. Then Scope clarifies, I was asking you how many maps do you think is reasonable for Season 2 considering we didn't get any new ones for Season 1? Charlie Intel responds with, we're lucky if we get 2. Mind you, Charlie Intel probably does actually know what the hell we're getting. What's the point in even making these blog posts regarding multiplayer when it's obvious the developers do not care? They're not competent enough to do anything correctly for the game. And at this point, let me just say it right now, Infinity Ward is 100% the worst developers we've ever had in COD. Worse than Vanguard era Sledgehammer Games. Because Sledgehammer Games actually gave us Dead Silence as a perk, or Ninja perk. They gave us the Radar perk. They gave us an option to have red dots on the map. At least they were considering the community's feedback. Infinity Ward is completely ignoring it. Yes, it's no question. Vanguard sucks. It is a bottom 3 COD of all time. Why is a game titled Modern Warfare 2 developed by Infinity Ward, most amount of production going into it, why is this game rivaling a game like Vanguard? 2 maps per season, remastered maps that nobody asked for, and 2.5 to 3 month long seasons. What is going on? They are a subspecies of humans. I don't consider them human beings. I know some of the gooch lickers, they want to come out here and say, oh, well, we didn't even get a roadmap for Season 2. Just wait for it. Why are you hating already? Hating for views, blah, blah, blah. Let me make the predictions right now. I am 95% sure we are getting 2 maps. One of them is going to be a remastered map, most likely Castle. There is a 5% chance out there that we get 3 maps, in which case one of them is an actual new original DLC map, which is good. However, in that case, I would see the other 2 being Castle and museum. If you think I'm being toxic right now, I think there's a conspiracy theory out there that I'm trying to get demonetized on purpose. And to that, you know what I say? At this point in Modern Warfare 2019 Part 2, maybe you're right. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Based off of the multiplayer news that we got, do you think Season 2 is gonna be good? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos, and yeah guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Toodles. It's been a very long time since the weekend. It's been a very